I just, want to keep the culture alive. Bring the classics and bring the community together.
Welcome to Nostalgia on the Mic, the home of classic hip-hop and soulful R&B vibes. I'm your host, T, and this is episode 6, From Heart to Art. Here we honor the legends, celebrate the culture, and keep the sound alive for the next generation. You know how we do. Another great show lined up just for you. But first, make sure you like, comment, share, follow us on all platforms, hit that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you'll be the first to catch latest drops and exclusive content. Meet visual artist LawtheOG, all the way from Belgium. Known for his bold hip-hop inspired work, Law has made waves internationally with features at Rock the Bells, cruise, and festivals, the Yo MTV Raps anniversary, Loud Records' 25th anniversary, and Biggie's Life After Death anniversary. His art is deeply rooted in hip-hop, drawing major inspiration from Notorious B.I.G., while Nas remains his all-time favorite rapper. All right, Lord the OG, we on. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Welcome to Nostalgia on the Mic.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, yeah, of course. Now, like I tell my guests, I'm not going to hold you long. We're going to get right into it, okay?
All right, cool.
So, starting, growing up in Belgium, how were you introduced to hip-hop? How did it draw to you initially?
It actually goes way back because when I was like 8 or 9 years old, I started playing basketball and I bought the VHS tapes that had like the clips on it. And that was always like in combination with 90s hip-hop music. So when I was really small, that's like my first introduction to hip-hop. And then when I got a little bit older, I started listening to Biggie Smalls, Tupac. Like I would take my bike and go to the record store because there was no internet back then. So I would take my bike and I would go to the record store and I would just buy like the newest stuff they had. So there was like a small section and it was Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, Big Pun. So it was like at that age, it was just like heavy hitters. So that's how it started.
What was your earliest memory of being inspired by hip-hop culture? Was it the music, visuals, or something else?
Like my earliest memory of like really hip-hop was Eric Sermon. He had a song called Stay Real, I think it was. And that was in one of those basketball tapes. It had like Kenny Anderson like crossing people over and like the song. And then it would like get cut up with him rapping. And I was like, 10 years old. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. So that's how it started. You gotta know, in Belgium, everybody watches soccer. And like dance music is huge. And hip hop is like small niche. So I was like that one guy that was buying the CDs and watching the basketball tapes.
When we were messaging about setting this up, you described your inspiration and passion as, being rooted in hip hop culture. Can you walk us through how that foundation shows up in your work?
Yeah, I've been a fan of hip hop my entire life, and I've been creative my entire life. But it wasn't until like 12 years ago or something that I really started to like create every day. Because before that, I would just like draw something and then a couple of weeks later do something again. And mostly it would be like hip hop or basketball inspired stuff that I would make, but I didn't really take it serious. And then like 12 years ago, I just really like had like a vision of what I wanted to create. And I just never stopped. So like everything I create is always from hip hop music or hip hop culture. Is it like MTV clips from the 90s or is it like outfits from the 90s? It can go as far as sneakers or glasses or whatever gets me going, that inspires me. So it's always like something from the hip hop culture that gets me going.
What was the first piece that you created that made you feel like you found your voice as a visual artist?
When I started creating, I was doing black and white drawings. They were pretty big size, but it was all like pencil, one color, black and white. And then when social media came around, I started putting them on Facebook at first. And there was this one piece of Ghostface Killer that got reposted by the early Wu-Tang fan page on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
And it got like 100,000 likes or something. And somebody sent it to me like, yo, this is your work. I'm like, whoa. So that really like made me realize you have an audience. And then from that point, I started creating the hip hop heads, the ones in color, like only the head. And that just really took off. So I think the first time that I realized like I have like carved out my own piece in hip hop art was like the first hip hop heads from Old Dirty Bastard and Biggie.
Oh, wow.
Those two first ones in color really kind of like took off. And that was like for me like a moment like, okay, this is, people are liking this.
How do you balance paying homage to the culture while still trying, keeping your style and message authentic to you?
To answer that, I think the most important way to do that for me is to always create what comes from my heart. Instead of like, oh, he put out a new album, so now I'm gonna focus on him, or that's hot, or that's like the new big thing, I'm gonna follow the hype. I think the most important thing for me to like stay true to what is hip hop for me and true to myself is always create what I want to create, like what I feel at that moment, and just from the heart create it. That's like the most important thing.
You know, you've been featured on some of the major hip hop events, you know, Rock the Bells, Yo MTV Raps, etc. What do those moments mean to you, personally and professionally?
I'm always super honored to be there. Being from Belgium, like to get the opportunity to do that, I'm just always super honored to be there. I think the first time I went to New York, that was to do an expo, was like 2016 or something. And I was just in a small garage somewhere. I had my work up. There were like 10 people who stopped by. And then from that on, it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then when Young TV Raps invited me to do that expo, I had like 16 original pieces as a backdrop. And I remember Fat Joe walked up to me and it was like, yo, where's the Big L piece? I'm like, what the hell? You know my work? He's like, yeah, I saw it on the internet. I'm like, yo. So it's just every time I go there, it's like, it's amazing that my work reaches that far. And like, yeah, I'm just super honored to be there every time.
Nice. I know with the interaction with Fat Joe, were there any other standout reactions to your art at the events that really stuck with you?
Yeah, there's too many to name. Like even the last expo I did at the Rock the Bells Festival or the cruises, it's like a lot of artists either see my work and like it a lot, or already know my work. And I think like the one of the craziest moments was when I did an expo for Loud Records in Manhattan. DMX walked in. Like
Wow.
I wasn't expecting him to be there. And he just got out of jail for something, I don't know what it was, but he walked in and he walked by my work and the same thing, he said to me, like, I saw your work online, like, this is dope. So I asked him for a picture and then took a quick picture with him. It was like, we talked for 2 minutes or whatever, but it was just like, as a DMX fan, for me, it was like, yeah, that was a moment that really stuck out.
When you think of hip hop, you know, it's clearly, you know, a big part of who you are. How do you define its role in your identity and creative process?
What do you mean?
Your creative process, as far as like the identity, like your role when it comes to hip hop?
Like my creative process, how I started work and how it goes from like nothing to finished.
Yes.
I think 99% of the time it starts with music. If I put on, I have like a massive playlist on my phone and it just goes on shuffle. So it's like 15 hours of shuffle. And it can be like a lyric or a beat, or I can just be sitting in my car and like listen to something like a Nas song from 30 years old. And I just see something like, oh, I can do that. Or I hear him say something. And then, so most of the time it's music. And then the other times it can be like fashion, sneakers, like these clips, pictures that like get my mind going. And then once I have an idea, I kind of like see it in my head before I start drawing. So I never start drawing before I know exactly what I want to create. So it's like if I close my eyes, I see what it has to be, and then I start drawing it, and then it's just like step by step. I usually split it up in 4 hours over several days, and then after like a week, it's finished or almost finished or good enough. And
now it's gonna be my follow-up question. Is there a specific artist or album? Because I know you said you were a Nas fan. I'm a huge Nas fan myself. If you could collaborate with any hip-hop legend, you know, visual or musical, who would it be and why?
I did collaboration with Cool J, and that was huge. Like the shirts, the sweaters we did with my art on it. I did the same with the Old Dirty Bastard Estate, and that was like massive for me because I've been a fan of his music forever. If there are a few that I could pick, like Nas, of course, Rakim would be because he's like legendary. I think like Wu-Tang, Raekwon, Ghostface, Method Man, those guys. Yeah, like that would be, if they would like use my art to create something, do something together, that would be super dope.
So you were speaking about your creative process as far as a hip hop piece. Is it the same process when it's a personal piece?
I don't really do personal work. I started doing the Hip Hop Head series 10 years ago. And I've been doing only that.
Only hip hop. Okay.
In the beginning, a lot of people thought I was crazy because as an artist, you can make a lot of money doing portraits for people. But I just love doing what I want to do so much that I just do strictly hip hop art. So I don't have time to do different stuff. It's just hip hop art.
You spoke earlier where you said in Belgium it's mostly soccer, so it's not hip hop is not as big. So coming from Belgium and being a part of hip hop moments, how do you see your role in connecting international audiences to the culture?
I think from early on, when I started drawing the hip hop heads, there was like a small shift that the 90s started coming back. So as soon as I started going up and down, especially through social media, a lot of people from like Poland, Germany, France, Belgium were kind of like, oh, I'm gonna follow this guy because it's cool. You know, it's like crossing the gap between Europe and like for them it was like it's possible to just book a flight, go there and actually build something and even get to meet some of these people or get like respect or feedback or whatever. So I think yeah, I got quite some followers. I get a lot of feedback, and I think I definitely like bridge a gap between like 90s hip hop hits in Europe and like the stuff I do in America. Definitely when I go on cruises or festivals, or it's like you have a lot of footage and people can really like check your stuff and kind of like go in the moment. And yeah.
What message do you hope that people take away when they see your art?
Well, for me, I dropped out of high school. I didn't go to art school. So everything I do is self-taught and everything I do is from the heart. So I just work as a regular job. I'm a caretaker for disabled people. And my art is like, it's a part of me. It comes from my heart, from my soul, and I don't compromise on it. It's like I will always do what feels right for me. And instead of creating what's cool in my environment, I just create what I love and I will take it to the environment that likes it. So that's why I keep going up and down to America, because if I draw it here, you get some feedback. But if you do it, bring it to the United States, it's like hip hop is so big there that, yeah. So I think that's the most important thing. Just follow your heart. And like, if you do something and nobody in your surrounding understands it, that's perfectly fine.
Right.
The world is huge. So just keep doing you and just take it, go where the love is. Simple as that.
Right. So what's next for LawtheOG? Are there any expos coming up, collaborations in the works?
Yeah, I'm planning a like next expo in the United States, but it's not like specific yet. But I'm always planning. Like once I get back from there, I'm already like, when can I go back? And collaboration wise, there's so much that like has been in the pipeline for so many years, but it always depends on a lot of licensing and a lot of people that are like,
Gotcha.
yeah, it's like some, even if it's like, if it's with estates from artists that are no longer here, it's like so many people that have to like all get on the same line. So I'm always pushing and working, but I can't tell you anything specific at the moment.
Nice. Okay.
It's a secret.
Wraps up our segment. Let the people know where they can find you, find your work.
Yeah, I'm just mainly on Instagram under Law, LawtheOG. So that's where you'll find like all of my work. I'm on Facebook as well, but not that active anymore.
Gotcha.
I don't have TikTok, so it's just Instagram.
Strictly Instagram. And I'll make sure to include that link at the bottom of our segment. Thank you again for chatting with me. Until next time, Nostalgia on the mic.
Thank you. Awesome. Take care.